Hello all, if you are new, my name is Marin. Welcome to another reading vlog. So if you watched my September TBR, which I will link up in the cards, you will know that I am attempting to read 20 books this month in order to catch up on various reading goals that I set for myself in 2024. So here is a picture of all of the books on that September TBR. I have already vlogged a week-long vlog last week, which I will also link for you up in the cards, but here is what we are looking like after that first week. So I have crossed 4 of the 20 books off of my TBR, so pretty good start. I am hoping to cross 4 more off this week. So I am planning on doing weekly reading vlogs throughout the month of September just to kind of track my progress towards catching up on these goals. So in this vlog, I am going to be focusing on reading Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard, God of the Woods by Liz Moore, which is the September pick for the Literally Dead Book Club. And I am going to hopefully also be able to tackle the next Nancy Drew book. I'm blanking on the name, but you're looking at the cover. So those are 3 of the 4 that I know that I want to get to this week. I am not sure about the 4th one. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to squeeze a 4th one in. This is a full week of work, unlike last week where I had Monday off for Labor Day, so we're just going to have to play it by ear. But I have started listening to Glass Sword. I have it pulled up on my Kindle right now, but it says that I am currently on page 146, which is 33% of the way through. I was listening to this on audio while I was at work, but I am going to go ahead and finish off this chapter. This is chapter 11. So it looks like when I get done with chapter 11, I should be at 37%, and that's where I'm gonna stop for today. I have a bit of a headache, so I'm hoping that some caffeine and some dinner will help solve that problem, but it is already almost 5 o'clock and I just got home from work. So that's just going to be the goal, to finish off this chapter, and then I will pick this back up with the audio tomorrow. I am hoping that I can get this done by Wednesday, at some point in Wednesday, because God of the Woods is quite lengthy. So that one I'm going to need a decent number of days to get through it. So anyway, that is what you're going to be seeing on this vlog. It's just going to be more of the same. I'm going to bring you along as I kind of tackle this very large TBR and hope that I can get caught up. So yes, I am going to pick up right here. I don't want to show spoilers, but there you go. There's kind of like the locations, and that's that. So I will check in with you. I think once I get to like 50%, I'll sit down and do like a little recap of my thoughts and things so far. I did quite enjoy Red Queen. I gave it 4 stars, so I am hoping that Glass Sword will be in that same vein. However, I have noticed that the ratings for this one are not as high as the first book in the series. So we'll just see how it goes. I will come back and chat with you with an update when I have one. Hello all, happy Saturday. Long time no chat. I do have a reading update, as I did finish listening to the audio of Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard back on Wednesday. And my overall thought upon finishing that book was that it didn't actually need to be written. It was over 400 pages long, and nothing of substance occurred until the last quarter of the book. So I essentially was listening to the same thing over and over and over again. So with the plot, if we can call it that, literally they were doing the same thing with the plot over and over and over and over. Added to that is the fact that we only have one POV character in that book, which is Mare, and her inner monologue was also monotonous and repetitive. So at the end of the first book, she experiences a betrayal. So you can understand that she has all kinds of feelings about this. However, she says the same things over and over, like internally. I am the lightning girl. She complains about being betrayed, how she can't trust anyone, and it literally carries on for 300 plus pages. So it just got very tedious to listen to. Had I been reading this physically, I'm not sure I would have made it through the book. That's how much repetition there was throughout. I feel like this book could have easily been condensed down and either tacked onto the end of the first one or added to the upcoming third one, because it just did not justify 400 plus pages. So that's my unflattering opinion of that. The last 100 pages picked up, which is why I said you could have taken that and tacked it on to something else. It ends with a cliffhanger. So obviously the author had that idea in her head. That's where she wanted to end this book, to like make you want to pick the third one up. But getting to that point was just a lot of unnecessary filler, in my opinion. So I gave the first book 4 stars, and I'm giving this one 2 stars. Yeah, so very disappointed considering how much I liked the first one. I'm going to temper my expectations now for the remaining 2 books in the series, because to me it feels like the author has good ideas, but she doesn't know how to execute them particularly well. And I'm hoping that the third book will at least be more interesting. That one, I believe, does have more than one POV, which may help a little bit. So that is my opinion on Glass Sword. I'm glad it's done. I will be continuing the series, as I do have a goal to finish the series this year, but it definitely was a definite letdown. So that one's done. After I finished Glass Sword, I started listening to The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I am at like 58% according to my audiobook. This one does not have chapter numbers. It just has like POVs and like the year. So there's a lot of jumping around in this book. There are a lot of POVs. There are a lot of time jumps, which can be a little confusing. But for the most part, I feel like the audio is doing a good job of like keeping us on track. So I am right here. I have this much left, and my goal is going to be to finish this book by tomorrow, the end of this vlog, through audio, because I will be listening to this one. In terms of reading physically, I am going to be starting The Clue of the Velvet Mask, I believe is the name of the Nancy Drew. I'm going to try to read that one today and then read the next one tomorrow so that I can hit my 4 books in this vlog threshold. Reading 4 books per week will still put me behind in terms of what I wanted to read this month, but it sure gets me a heck of a lot closer. If I can read 16 of 20 books, I'm going to consider that a win. So anyway, this book is following the abduction of a girl named Barbara, and several years, 14 years earlier, I believe, her brother also disappeared. So it's all about kind of the secrets and things about the Van Laar family. They are a prominent family in the community. They own a camp, which is where Barbara has disappeared from, and kind of the fallout from that. So I don't really want to talk too much about it. Honestly, we haven't gotten very many answers at all yet, but I am enjoying it thus far. So once I have finished this, I will give you like an overall thought, but I'm going to go ahead and continue listening to this while I take care of a couple of things, and then I will dive into Nancy Drew. So I will see you once I finish Nancy Drew with a rating and a review. So see you in a little bit. Hello all, happy Sunday. I have a reading update. I deviated from my initial reading plans yesterday, and instead of reading a Nancy Drew book yesterday, I actually finished The God of the Woods in its entirety. So I had half the book left, and I was listening to the audio while I did some like online jigsaw puzzles, and the second half of the book just kind of sucked me right in, and I just kept listening. So very compulsively readable for the second half. It is slow to get started, but I'm going to give this 4 stars. I quite enjoyed this. I felt like the way that the mystery aspect was unraveled was done really well. It is a slow build, so even at 50%, we didn't have like any answers. I felt like there was a decent amount of twists in the second half, and I really liked this one a lot. So I am very interested to read more from this author. If you have recommendations by her, feel free to let me know down below, but I'm giving this one 4 stars. Very much enjoyed this. So instead of carrying this over into today, this one's actually done. So I am going to be reading the 30th Nancy Drew book, which is The Clue of the Velvet Mask, today. There are, I think, 220 something pages in that book, so I should be able to get through with it in a couple of hours, and I will come back and chat with you with overall thoughts, and then that will be the final book for this vlog. So I'm not hitting my 4 book per week goal this week, but that's okay. This one was quite large. Glass Sword was very large, so I feel like I still accomplished a decent amount. So yes, this one's done. 4 stars, would recommend. And now we're gonna dive into Nancy Drew. So it's just gonna be a chill Sunday today. I have no plans. I'm just gonna kind of hang out at home, do some reading, some other things as they come up, and I will bring you along. So I will see you in a little bit. I think I'll go ahead and do a check-in at the 100-page mark of the Nancy Drew book, but otherwise we're just gonna hang out. So I'm gonna head on out to the living room, get cozy in my chair, and read Nancy Drew. Hello all, reading update time. I am on page 105 of The Clue of the Velvet Mask. So in this one, we are following Nancy as she is working to solve the mystery of a group of thieves that is attending well-to-do parties in the area and then robbing the houses of different types of valuables. So that's kind of the setup for this one. The Velvet Mask in the title is referring to the hood that the thieves wear to hide their identities. So that's kind of where we are at the halfway point. You as a reader kind of have figured out who is maybe responsible, or at least a member, because the way that the authors, plural, because Carolyn Keene is a pseudonym for a number of ghostwriters, but you can always tell who the bad guys are because it is always someone of like a darker complexion, or at least a person of color is usually involved in some way. So we got a reference to a man who is working at like a party planning company who is responsible for putting on these parties, and he was referred to as dark complected, and that's kind of like a red flag in terms of these books. They always would use like quite racist terms to describe their villains, if you will. So that happened pretty early on, so it gives you a pretty good idea that that person is going to play some kind of role in the ultimate mystery. But at this point, nothing has been figured out in the book itself. So that's where I am. It is actually 5:13. It's significantly later. I have just kind of been watching a little bit of YouTube and then poking here and there at that Nancy Drew book. So I will get it done today, but I am going to take a bit of a break and do something else. I'm kind of tired. Definitely a lazy Sunday, but yes, overall I don't really have any big thoughts on the book because not much of note has happened as of yet. So hopefully things will pick up in the second half, because this is been a little bit more of a slow-paced Nancy Drew than some of the previous ones. So that is my mid-book update. I will come back and chat with you once the whole book is finished. I think I might actually watch a few episodes of the most recent release of Unsolved Mysteries just to kind of do something different for a little while. So anyway, I will come back and talk with you once I have a reading update and have finished the full book. Hello all, it's actually Tuesday and I realized that I never closed out this vlog, so I'm going to do that really quickly before I head to work. So I did finish reading The Clue of the Velvet Mask, which was number 30 in the Nancy Drew series. I'm giving it 3 stars. I felt like this one had some unique elements compared to other Nancy Drew books that I have read, so I quite enjoyed that. I felt like the mystery itself was decently well crafted and it was fun to read. So 3 stars for that one, and that concludes the books that I'm reading for this vlog. So let's go ahead and do a little update. So here are all of the books that were on my September TBR. And here is what we are looking like after week 2 of September. So I have read 7 out of 20 books. Obviously did not hit that 4 book per week goal in this vlog. I'm gonna hopefully catch up next week, or rather this week as I'm filming this, so you can stay tuned for that. But I hope you enjoyed coming along with me nonetheless. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to see more from me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.